a little laugh?
This thing must not be calibrated. Let me try again.
No. This is working for me.
Alright, we've officially got our first Justin Roiland recast announcement, and wild timing since the last video I did was about the recent hints towards the direction that Rick and Morty will be going with its own recasting of Roiland. But Solar Opposites has revealed not just who our new Korvo voice actor is, but released what I presume to be the very first scene of the upcoming 4th season, directly addressing the recast narratively, and so far it seems to be going over very well. Let's take a look and break it all down. In this presumed cold open to Season 4, Terry accidentally impales Korvo in the throat with a dart, leading Yumulak to grab the voice-fixing ray.
We'll get this fixed in a jiffy.
I told you not to throw metal around here. We're going to be late to work. Stop buggering about.
So, yeah, personally, I love this direction for the voiceover change. They've hired British actor Dan Stevens to replace Justin Roiland. Dan is probably best known for his roles on Downton Abbey, FX's Legion, and of course the Beast in that god-awful live-action Beauty and the Beast remake, but damn, did I instantly love his entirely different take on Korvo.
That's right. I've been talking this whole time. I'm the one holding the pupa. My name's Korvo. This is my show. Bollocks, I just dropped the pupa. Ugh, this is ridiculous. I hate Earth. It's a horrible home.
I also just think it's so funny that he not only had his voice changed, but he immediately started using British terminology. Stop buggering about is hilarious.
All right, chop chop, let's get a move on. I hate being late. It makes me feel hot and weird.
Explaining away the voice change with some sci-fi nonsense is a perfect move for Solar Opposites. Unlike Rick and Morty, Solar Opposites doesn't really take itself too seriously, which I think is really helping in the audience perception of this change, because so far, the completely different voice decision has gone over shockingly well on social media. From what I've seen, about 98% of the response has been overwhelmingly positive, with people finding the scene incredibly funny and even loving Dan Stevens' performance right off the bat. I literally wrote the most milquetoast positive quote tweet to the reveal, and as of writing this, it has 27,000 likes for some reason. So yeah, people really like this decision. In fact, I think that this decision was handled so well, it might even lead to an increased interest in the show. Because so far, the reaction is basically just free marketing. People are raving about the decision and execution a couple of months before the new season premieres. I wouldn't be surprised if some people enjoyed this scene so much that they decided to check out the show for the very first time. And personally, I hope they do, because for me, Solar Opposites has just gotten better and better. A bit of an underdog that has routinely exceeded my expectations year after year. Sort of the opposite to Rick and Morty, a show that had a monumental rise in popularity and has really not lived up to its earliest successes since. In fact, if you haven't checked out Solar Opposites, I want to implore you to give it a shot. One of the things that makes it so endearing is that though Korvo and the aliens are smart and possess advanced technology, they are complete fish-out-of-water characters, and it chronicles their struggles to assimilate to Earth culture. It's a bit of a counter to Rick, who is just so much smarter than everybody else. He always knows what's going on all the time. It's a bit more fun and a bit less up its own ass than Rick and Morty is. But one of the other high points of the series is that it sets up these tangential subplots that, while stemming from the main characters, have very little to do with them when played out. The wall subplot being the major one, truly one of my favorite storylines in all of TV. One I did an entire video about last year. This story has been ongoing through all 3 seasons, a remarkable experiment that has completely paid off. I don't know anyone who doesn't love The Wall. And it paid off so much so that Season 3 introduced another subplot about this core of silver cops in space. We've only seen 1 episode about them so far, but the press release for Season 4 promises we'll be getting more Wall and more silver cops. This tease not only announced the new season is airing on August 14, but also gave us the entire title sequence, now featuring Dan Stevens' performance as Korvo, and man, does Dan give a great delivery of this already existing monologue.
Planet Slop was a perfect utopia until the asteroid hit.
And it's kind of cool that we can actually literally directly compare this title sequence between Roiland and Stevens' deliveries now. Actually, let me try something.
Planet Slop was a perfect utopia until the asteroid hit.
Okay, maybe that was a mistake. I apologize. But it is super interesting to see how well this has gone over so far. I've seen a lot of people compare it to Squidbillies' final season when Tracy Morgan replaced Stuart Daniel Baker, just 2 entirely different voices.
Well, now, looky here. Hot damn it, it's the weekend.
Then I'll speak for myself.
Whoa,
Your voice sounds different, Early.
I'm exercising my freedom of speech.
But that did not go over well, though it was for the 13th and final season of Squidbillies after 16 years on the air, and I don't think they even tried to explain the difference in voices narratively, so I definitely understand why fans weren't as stoked on that attempt as they seem to be for Solar Opposites, at least so far. While it's all in a very joking tone, the new Solar Opposites intro went the extra mile to explain the new voice in most possible ways.
This is what my voice sounds like now. I don't care if it's jarring, get over it. And that voice change array had chronotons in it, so this is what I'm gonna sound like in flashbacks too. You got a problem with that? Then tough shit. It's called science.
And while I have seen some people say they expect that they'll continue to use this voice changing array to regularly change Korvo's voice, I personally don't think that'll happen. You don't get a voice talent like Dan Stevens and then just get rid of him. But you know what? Who knows? Could be fun if they went that route. Imagine having the intro for Solar Opposites read by like 12 different voice actors. That's kind of funny. I've also seen people say that they expect Rick and Morty to do something very similar to this, but I don't see that happening at all, for a few reasons. For one, I think that the fan base of that show would have a much harder time with that drastic and silly of a change. Rick and Morty takes itself more seriously than Solar Opposites, and its fans take it very seriously. And that kind of a massive series-wide change done so flippantly would probably not go over well with those fans. Many of the fans aren't stoked on the voice change as is, so yeah, that'd probably be a nightmare. On top of that, the most recent news about Rick and Morty's ongoing recast seems to suggest that while they won't be looking for the literal best impression or imitation of Roiland that they can possibly find, they will very likely still be doing the Rick and Morty voices. Here's the quote from Adult Swim president Michael Ouweleen. "No, not imitators. In any case, the idea is that we feel that they are the same characters. I'll take an example. There have been several great Bugs Bunny voice actors, and I love what Jeff Bennett has done with them, but it's not Mel Blanc, and yet we recognize the character. I even think that for Rick and Morty, we will do even better. It will be fine. It'll be great." He definitely meant Jeff Bergman here, not Jeff Bennett, but the Bugs Bunny comparison directly implies that they'll still be doing performances based on the previous iterations, not something entirely new. While different Bugs actors have sounded a bit different over the years, they're all still very similar to Mel Blanc's take on the character. And I think both shows going different directions is really smart, and both prioritize the voice acting ability over the ability to impersonate. But personally, I'm really excited about not only Korvo's new voice, but how well this very funny decision has gone over with general audiences so far. It genuinely seems to not just be accepted, but incredibly popular, which is very encouraging, especially because it's promoting a show that I feel doesn't get enough credit. If you're interested, I did a video a few years back about how I felt Solar Opposites started to outshine Rick and Morty really early on, and then a huge video breaking down the wall subplot, but I'd love to get into more Solar Opposites content for season 4, so let me know if that interests you at all. But also let me know what you think about this casting decision. Do you wish they had just gone with a Roiland sound-alike for Korvo, or do you like how flippantly they completely changed things up? Let me know below in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
I stay mellow watching Johnny two cellos. He talks cartoons, he's a really cool fellow. He keeps you posted on adult cartoons. If that's what you're into, then grab a spoon and a very big bowl of your favorite cereal. Feels like Saturday morning cartoon material. Johnny two cellos, watch him on YouTube. Now enjoy this groove and bust a move.